Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. I've got a new attachment for the excavator I want to show you guys today. This piece of equipment is probably something that I have looked forward to running more than any other attachment we've ever gotten here on the channel. Before I show it to you though, we got a little problem we got to take care of. So on our firewood baskets here that we store all of our firewood for drying and seasoning, they sit here for a couple of months. And I don't know if you can tell, but on the side of that basket right there, there is a giant paper wasp nest. I think those are those white-faced hornets, and they are nasty. I don't want to get any closer than this, but we're going to go ahead and take care of them real quick from the comfort inside our air-conditioned and fully enclosed cab. Just going to go ahead and take the bucket, scratch them right off. Well, if that isn't the definition of using a sledgehammer to kill a fly, I don't know what is, but I hate wasps. I mean, imagine if I went over there in my open station tractor with my pallet forks to try to pick up that basket of wood. I would have been stung to death. I would have gone into anaphylactic shock, and yeah, it wouldn't have been good. So I got them taken care of for now. Later tonight, I'll run back down there with a can of wasp spray from inside my truck. I'll roll down the window just a little bit, shoot it out at them. As soon as they start flying out, I'll close the window, and that should be the end of the paper wasps on the firewood basket. Anyway, back to the point of today's video. I want to show you guys an attachment that I have been looking forward to run more than any other attachment we've received here. Let me show you what it is. We'll go ahead and drop our bucket off here real quick first. All right, so the attachment we've been hyping up here is this excavator mounted flail mower. This is made by Baumalight. It's their model MX330. Baumalight did send this to us for us to demo here on the channel, but this has been something that I've been wanting for a while. If you guys have been following, you know we've got about 30 acres of woods out back, and we've had numerous foresters out here talking about proper forest management. And one thing that they have all said is that we need to get our invasive species under control. All of our beech saplings, all of our autumn olive rose, and this thing here is going to be the ticket for cleaning up our woods before we can even start to think about doing any kind of foresting back in the woods. Now, I don't want to get your expectations up too high for this unit because it's not a forestry head. It is a flail mower. Forestry heads on an excavator this size should be able to handle material up to 4, 5, 6 inches in diameter. This is a flail mower similar to a brush hog, and it's rated for material up to about 1 inch. But for what we're doing, clearing understory back in our woods, getting ready for proper forest management, and maybe even doing a little bit of trail clearing back in there for ATVs and stuff, this is going to be absolutely perfect. And the other thing is, this is a fraction of the cost of forestry heads. Now, you might be asking yourself, if this thing can only do up to 1 inch material, why don't you just use the brush hog in the back of your tractor? And the reason is reach. I can reach back into the woods so much further with this excavator without actually having to drive back in. There's down trees and logs and rocks and things that are going to be poking up, and the soft spot on a tractor is the underbelly. And with a tractor and a brush hog, you have to drive over everything that you're mowing. This, you don't have to. You can reach back in and get to it and not have to worry about damaging any of the underside of your tractor. Anyway, with all that said, we're going to go ahead and start picking away at some of this wood line here right up next to the house. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of brush back in here I want to get cleaned out. I'll be able to reach back in between these trees, get this all cut out, and get this looking a little nicer, get it cleaned up a little bit. And that's probably all we'll get done today, but the goal is to start working our way back through the woods and getting our property cleaned up. All right, so if you guys remember what this looked like before, I think this is a huge improvement over that. Now, after I got into this a little bit, I realized this is probably the worst place to get started, just because there's a whole bunch of trees in here that are like 3-4 inches in diameter. They're just a little bit too big for that flail mulcher. And so I had a lot of kind of poking around, trying to reach around things to get in here. So I couldn't get it cleaned up as much as I would have liked. But when I take this back in the woods where we've got some bigger trees, the bigger the trees get, the further spread out they are. I already went back and did some scouting, and there's a lot more room to work actually back in the woods versus this tree line here. But yeah, this is looking really nice. One thing that I found is it is so much easier to mulch the trees while they're still in the ground. So what you want to do on a tree like this one here is you want to cut it as high up as you can so you don't have as much left after, and then just grind it all the way down. Otherwise you're left with stuff like this. And the problem with this is there's nothing to hold it in place. So when you go ahead and drop that mulcher head on it, it just wants to shoot it out the back side. So the more you can mulch while the tree is still in the ground, the better. But yeah, that brush mulcher is just so versatile. You can literally reach just about anywhere. And there was a couple points in time where some of these overhanging branches over top of the trail here were getting in the way of the boom while I was trying to reach into the wood line here. So you just back up, reach up, and mulch those branches off. Give yourself a little bit more room to work. And yeah, it worked out pretty good. And then I thought I'd give it a try on this hillside here. I don't know if the camera does this slope justice, but brush hogging this is probably about a 10 out of 10 on the pucker factor. And it's just so much easier to sit up here on top and mulch half of it with the excavator, go down low, mulch the other half, and get this all cleaned up. So I still have, you know, some stragglers sitting back here in the woods. Like I said, these ones are hard to mulch once they get disconnected from the ground and they don't have roots holding them in place. So what I'll do is I'll throw the bucket on, and with the thumb, I'll come in here, clean all these up, and just throw them in a burn pile. But yeah, this is a huge improvement on this section right next to the house. I probably won't go this crazy back in the woods with clearing all the saplings and stuff, but since this is right next to the house, I kind of wanted to be able to see back into the woods a little bit and clear all that small little growth. Now, as far as operating the mulcher, you're going to need some auxiliary hydraulics on your excavator. Luckily, ours came with them. And then when you hop up in the cab, I'll show you, you're going to have a jackhammer button. That's this button right here. And then on my excavator, I have to hold down this thumb button to run the mulcher. And at first I didn't think I was going to like that, because you got to sit there and hold that down while you're trying to move the joystick and everything. But I'll tell you what, this thing uses so much flow from the excavator. It's actually kind of nice just to turn it off whenever you're tracking back and forth, or if you're repositioning yourself, to not have that running all the time. I probably wouldn't mind having a toggle switch that I could, you know, slide it left and right or something like that to turn it on and off. That way I didn't have to hold that button down. But yeah, you definitely want to turn this off when you're not actively mulching, otherwise it robs a ton of flow from your machine. Anyways, guys, that is the Baumalight MX330 flail mulcher. And I'll tell you what, this thing is absolutely a blast to run. And it's kind of like cutting firewood. I think one of the things that people like about cutting firewood is you put in a couple hours worth of work, and within that short period of time you have a lot to show for your efforts. It's the same thing with this. You put in 2 or 3 hours and you can get a lot cleaned up in a hurry and have a lot to show for your time invested. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this one, give me a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.